Welcome to Bed Crime Stories. I'm T. I hope you guys are having a great day. Do me a favor, if you enjoy this video, if you learn something from it, please smash the like button and please subscribe. Luigi Mangione, the alleged unaliver of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, left some stuff behind at the crime scene, allegedly. His fingerprints were found on a water bottle and a kind the masked man purchased at Starbucks. And when Luigi was nabbed in Altoona, Pennsylvania, he had a fake ID on him, the same one that was used by the masked man at the hostel in Manhattan. Luigi also had a weapon with him matching the one seen in security camera footage that captured the crime as it went down. According to former cops on YouTube, most unalivers ditch weapons used in red rums, if you know what I mean. They don't want to be found in possession of the weapon that led to the victim's death. But I also heard psychologist Dr. Bethany Marshall say that Luigi Mangione likely didn't ditch the weapon because it was really important to him. He allegedly made it a trophy of sorts, and he's proud of it. During the crime in New York, the masked man pulled out a homemade ghost gun with a silencer and in cold blood took Brian Thompson down. I've seen the full video, and in it, you see Thompson get hit first in the back, then in the leg, stumbles, veers to the right toward a building, turns around to look at his unaliver, and then collapses on the pavement. The masked man then approaches him, makes sure that he's got wounds that will get the job fully done, and then he runs across the street and makes his getaway. Now, as you likely know, a lot of people are praising Luigi, celebrating him as a hero because he stuck it to what they perceive to be the greedy and uncaring American health insurance companies. Luigi is still innocent because he hasn't been tried and convicted, but in some of his writings, he basically confessed to the crime, said it had to be done. So while most people know it's not okay to go around unaliving people, let's try to understand where these people who think Luigi is a hero are coming from. Please note that I do not condone the death of Brian Thompson. I'm trying to understand why people are cheering this unaliving. It would appear that Luigi has tapped into a deep-seated anger that many Americans are feeling. Here's a fact. The cost of health insurance in the U.S. is outpacing inflation. This means that some people can no longer afford health insurance. According to News Nation, 62% of bankruptcies filed this year in the U.S. are the result of medical debt. That is disturbing. So a lot of people are angry, and now a lot of CEOs of health insurance companies. If it can happen to Thompson, it can happen to them, perhaps in copycat crimes. Luigi, by all accounts, was at times in excruciating pain, and it sounds like he harbored deep anger against health insurance companies. Maybe on some level, he blamed them for his pain or for it not being fixed. It would appear that the perpetrator of the crime is not happy with the tactics health insurance companies use to avoid paying claims and to deny coverage of certain medical care and procedures. Remember, the words on the casings found at the crime scene said, "Delay, deny, and depose." Those words were likely taken from a book entitled Delay, Deny, and Defend. The book is about the tactics insurance companies use to deny services and payment. By writing delay, deny, and depose, the perpetrator seems to want to say these people at the top need to be taken down. The weird thing about Luigi is that no one in his life saw this alleged act coming. His friends from high school and college say he was well-liked, very smart, never violent, never very political. It's looking like if Luigi is found to be the perpetrator, then his back pain, which was said to be so severe that he couldn't be intimate with anyone, likely played a role in the crime. So many people are saying, If he's in so much pain, how did he hop on that bike and pedal away so fast? Especially with a gray backpack that seemed to be full. And that's a good point. One of Luigi's friends did say, however, that his pain came and went depending on his movements. One detail that stands out to me is that Luigi reportedly stopped communicating with his family and friends about 6 or 7 months ago. It just went dark. Detectives are now trying to piece together what he was doing during that time. Oh, by the way, it's being reported by the New York Post that Mangione's grandmother, Mary, left the family $30 million in her will, but she specified that anybody, quote, charged, indicted, convicted of, or pleads guilty to a felony should be cut out, end quote. So if Luigi is found guilty, he gets none of that money. The New York Post said that although Mary's estate is believed to be worth $30 million, the will estimates its total value could be closer to $100 million. That's a lot of money. There are a lot of people in the Mangione family, though. Mary and her husband had 10 children. One of them is Luigi's father. They also had 37 grandchildren and 23 great-grandchildren. But back to Luigi. After seeing him lash out as he was led into a courtroom this week, I wondered about his mental health. I know his extreme pain could be the reason for this alleged act, but it seems like most of the family and his friends are shocked. One psychologist on Nancy Grace, I think it was Dr. Bethany Marshall, but don't quote me on that, said that sadly, some mental health disorders often first appear in the late teens and early 20s. Some of these disorders include 1, depression, 2, bipolar disorder, 3, schizophrenia, 4, generalized anxiety disorder, which is characterized by excessive worry. I'm wondering if I have this now. And 5, eating disorders. Luigi is 26. Could he have suddenly come down with some mental health problem? May have led him to isolate from everyone he loved. Is that a possibility? Personally, I think it's unhinged to carry out a crime like this. I mean, a lot of people are angry at the health insurance companies, but they know it's unacceptable to unalive another human being. But some would say it's unacceptable for the top brass at health insurance companies to benefit financially to the tune of billions of dollars off the backs of vulnerable people who work hard, but then watch their life savings disappear as they pay exorbitant healthcare bills. Some of Luigi's friends say they don't recognize the angry Luigi we saw in that footage of him being taken into the courthouse. So, is that down to a mental health crisis? Maybe. I'm not a psychologist. Is he insane? Is that why he made mistakes at the crime scene? Because he's a smart guy. He doesn't seem completely unfit mentally, so I don't think he's insane. I heard somebody else say that maybe he disappeared for 6 to 7 months because he was planning the crime. He didn't want anybody to know. It sounds like Luigi was in Japan when he left a voicemail for a friend, and in a quiet voice said, quote, "I want some time to zen out," end quote. That was one of the last communications Luigi made before abruptly cutting ties with his friends and family. 7 months after that, he reemerged and became the suspect in this crime. We know he had debilitating medical problems, the back pain, and it seems like that may have led him to feeling disillusioned with society. The New York Times has an article that says of Luigi, quote, "But in recent years, his writings and messages also traced a darker journey as he transitioned from a teenager who celebrated how his fellow students had secured an extra recess to a young man who reported being in unbearable pain. He frequently expressed alarm over the world's increasing reliance on smartphones and social media. During his trip to Asia, Luigi lashed out at the modern Japanese urban environment, claiming that toys used in intimate acts, automated restaurants, and a more general lack of natural human interaction were responsible for Japan's falling birth rates and a lack of human connection. He also expressed an interest in those who say that violence might be a necessary next step. People like the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski. But even during his college years, Luigi was writing on social media about his ailments, sleep cycle being disturbed, worsening symptoms of brain fog. Reminds me of Bryan Kohberger. It sounds to me like he was ruminating on all these health issues, obsessing over them. What do you think? Luigi wrote that what in the past had been a minor disorientation was now upending his life. According to this article in the New York Times, Luigi, who'd once been a straight-A student, suddenly saw his grades drop. He found lectures and books perplexing, and he struggled to focus even on YouTube videos. Tried playing chess with a roommate, but couldn't even do basic moves to win. And he wrote on Reddit, quote, "It's absolutely brutal to have such a life-halting issue, especially since the issue itself wears down the critical, logical thinking mind you'd usually use to tackle it. The people around you probably won't understand your symptoms. They certainly don't for me," end quote. Luigi said that doctors struggled to understand his ailments. He suggested that tests that might explain his symptoms kept coming back negative. So he took these tests, but they came back negative. He spent ample time researching his ailments. He said he got Lyme disease at age 13. And that's a disease that apparently can have symptoms of fatigue, brain fog, pain, sleep disruption, and tingling or numbness in parts of the body. Luigi was consulting with others online about irritable bowel syndrome and, get this, visual snow. Remember that from Bryan Kohberger? I wonder if those two actually communicated about the visual snow. Oh my God. Luigi also mentioned seeking doctors for help. He doesn't say if he ever got treated for any of this. Now I want to read you some sections from an article in the New York Times. Reads, quote, "Despite his struggles, Mr. Mangione continued to show academic brilliance and entrepreneurial spirit. In the summer of 2019, he was chosen to be the head counselor of a pre-college program at Stanford University. When he returned to Pennsylvania for the school year, one fellow student recalled he was ready to make some money. He bought dozens of boxes of Christmas lights, stacked them in a stairwell at his off-campus apartment, selling them to students to decorate their residences around campus. As the pandemic arrived during his senior year in 2020, and students finished the semester off campus, Mr. Mangione completed both a bachelor's degree and a master's degree simultaneously. What? Soon secured a job at TrueCar, California-based tech company that connects car buyers and sellers. Able to work remotely, Mr. Mangione moved in early 2022 to Honolulu, settling into a co-living space on the 40th floor of a high-rise near Waikiki, Hawaii. He had a private room in a complex that included a stocked kitchen, a joint living area, and a stash of surfboards available for anybody to use. But soon after, his medical troubles worsened following a group surfing lesson, and he complained that he had strained his back. Mr. Mangione told friends that he had long struggled with a spinal problem. A friend of his named R.J. Martin said that his spine was kind of misaligned. Martin is the guy who founded the co-living space and became friends with Luigi. Luigi said his lower vertebrae were almost like a half-inch off, that he had a pinched nerve. Sometimes he'd be doing well, other times he would not be doing well. In July of 2023, Mr. Mangione wrote in a Reddit post that he had also slipped on a piece of paper, which caused more problems. He said it hurt to sit down, and his leg muscles were twitching. He felt tingling and numbness in his groin. We know that this Martin guy said that Luigi told him he had no relationships because, quote, he knew that dating and being physically intimate with his back condition wasn't possible. The article goes on, quote, For months, the suffering continued as he consulted with doctors and tried a variety of non-invasive remedies. Now, he quit his job in early 2023, telling a friend that while it paid well, it was, quote, mind-numbingly boring, end quote. He said he wanted to spend more time doing yoga and reading. Don't we all? But it is not clear how he paid for health care after that. In May, he turned 26, meaning that he could have been kicked off his parents' health insurance plan. Now, his family has not discussed his insurance coverage. He'd always been a voracious reader, consuming everything from self-help books to George Orwell's 1984. Apparently, he scribbled extensive notes, typed up outlines that would summarize the author's views and how they might apply to his own life. He read a book called Bigger, Leaner, Stronger: The Simple Science of Building the Ultimate Male Body. And then he jotted down notes about how to lift weights without exacerbating problems with his back. Now, in the summer of 2023, Luigi opted for surgery. He traveled from Hawaii to the East Coast for the surgery. He reported on Reddit that the surgery was a success. After the surgery, Luigi toured islands in Hawaii, visited his family in Maryland, and then set off for Asia with stops in Thailand and Japan. One person who met him in Japan said that the overall impression he got, besides Luigi's curiosity and kindness, was a deep concern for the future of humanity and a determination to improve himself and the world. Luigi's final post on Reddit was made on May 25th. In it, he shared a video on a subreddit dedicated to the Unabomber Ted Kaczynski. The video showed dozens of people lined up along sidewalks, live streaming themselves. Not long after that, Luigi went silent. His mother reported him missing on November 18th after not hearing from him at all during that period. We all know now what happened after that, allegedly. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. See you next time.